It's NAB 2022 and we're on the TSL stand and I'm joined by Greg Siers. Hi Greg, how are you doing?
Great, Simon, how are you?
I'm very well.
It's great to be back, isn't it?
It's great to be back in person. Now we're talking today about the TM1-Tally?
Yes, TM1-Tally follows in the legacy of Tallyman. Tallyman has been integrated around the globe in over 2,000 installations. Tally, router control, camera delegation, and it's containing all of the protocols and APIs. I often like to think of our TSL Tallyman system, we're a protocol translator. I remember a movie with a droid in it that was a protocol translator, spoke thousands of languages on all these other planets. Well, think of us right here on Earth as though we are providing that service to customers. Think of every third-party device in a broadcast workflow as speaking its own language. That's known as an API or a driver or a protocol. We speak all of those protocols. Why is that important? Because when a camera is live, and your talent needs to know that it's their turn to talk, that little red light.
Absolutely.
How does that signal get from a camera that speaks language A, to a router that speaks language B, to a switcher that speaks language C, to a multi-viewer that speaks language D? Tallyman. So, what we've got here at NAB in 2022 is a stripped down version of Tallyman. But here's what it still includes, is all of those languages. So you still have the power of the engine and the brains of Tallyman to speak all of those disparate languages for all major third-party projects and some not so major. And what you're able to do, though, is at a cost that is half the price of a full-fledged Tallyman system, control up to 6 devices.
Right.
Now, what's a device? A router frame, a switcher, a multi-viewer. And now I think to myself, well, that only leaves me 3 cameras. Not so fast. You can connect as many cameras over GPIO for Tally, or over a single Ethernet connection to equal your 4th device. Then maybe you add a control panel, a 5th device. And I've still got 1 device left over, and I've covered many, many such installations where for small and medium-sized projects, you need a cost-effective Tally solution. And if you want to add our Tallyman virtual panels, that doesn't even count as a device. So we've got a very cost-effective solution. It's not doing anything new, but it's doing it for a new audience that can now afford it. Because one of the barriers to entry that is so important in this time where control, above all other things, is the hardest part of figuring out how to make your system work, is Tally. And so we're here to help fix that at an affordable price.
That's great. So TSL obviously well known for your control solutions. Where does the TM1-Tally fit into your portfolio?
Well, it's great to hear that we're known for our control solutions. And it's interesting how many people talk about control and what they really mean is Tally or routing. And I want to be specific here because a control solution can mean many different things to many different people. In the case of the Tallyman Tally, it is fitting into an ecosystem which goes from on the large scale from a system that's controlling devices to providing Tally, to providing routing, camera delegation, down to just a simple button that says, I want something to stop or start, or a red light that you want to turn on or off. So at a cost of $7,500 US, it fits right in the middle, and it stands right at the forefront for a small or medium-sized control system need to provide simply Tally.
So let's summarize the key benefits of the Tally TM1.
So the Tally TM1, key benefits top line, $7,500. It's half the price of a full-fledged Tallyman system. Second thing is, it can work in conjunction with the whole spectrum of other TSL control system devices, from a button panel, again, to a system controller, to a full-on brain that's firing triggers and automating tasks for your broadcast workflow and your operators. It's capable of being edited, updated, configured at any point by the end user. It's not designed for us to have to fly in and fix and charge extra money for. It's designed for users to figure out and use on their own. That is a very key thing. It's self-configurable. There's always a learning curve in how a control system complex brain makes something simple using an application, but it's not designed for us to be only able to use. It's designed for the customer to use it.
The important person, the customer, all the time, isn't it, really?
It's all about the customer because you have to understand what it is you're doing and what your needs are, and no one understands that better than you.
Absolutely.
It's our job to help facilitate you getting there.
So with that in mind, what other products in the TSL ecosystem work well with the TM1?
Simon, I'm glad you asked. So I want to show you this. What is this?
It looks like a 4-button switch.
It's 4 buttons. Would you believe that this is actually a control system? Okay. Truly. Authentically, we have GPIO on the back. We have power over Ethernet. We have a capability for external power supplies. We've got 4 buttons. Now, why 4 buttons? Let's talk about how a need comes to pass in a broadcast environment, either a truck or a facility. An operator says, I need a button that does this. Make me a button. Well, that's why this exists, because we've already done that. But we haven't just made 1, we've made 4. Because when they ask for 3 more, you're all set.
Yeah, yeah.
You can program this to do whatever you want. You can open the drapes, raise the garage door, turn on a camera, mute the mic. You can turn on the lights. It just has to speak to that device. It has to send a signal, a blast of a couple of numbers over a hexadecimal command, utilizing that device's protocol or language. And we go back to the fact that we speak all the languages. So I refer to something like this as being part of control glue. But in fact, this is a mini control system. You are controlling something, and systemically it works with something else. Cool. Now, we've got button panels that are 4, that are 2. We've got 16 button panels. They can light up. You can change the color. You can put words on them. They can blink. They can behave in a variety of ways. They can be virtual. You can access these buttons as long as you're part of a network from anywhere, as long as you have VPN access. So whether you're trying to do device control, whether you're trying to trigger a SCUDdy signal, whether you're trying to operate in a multitude of environments, it's really about connecting anything, anywhere.
And does this range have a name?
This range, so this product is actually called the Ipcontrol Buddy.
Okay.
And then we've got the ability, I'm going to move with you a little bit here. This is our USP3 16 panel. We've got a multitude of brains that act as system controllers and control systems. And it's really about what is the end application. You know, when you're selling a product, you're saying, here's what this microphone does, Simon. But in the case of a control system, it all starts with, what do you need? What are you trying to do? And whether it's a napkin drawing or I need this to do that, we then have to take that need and apply that to whatever acronym or box that we've got. It really doesn't matter what these things are called. It matters how many buttons you need, what you're trying to achieve, from where, how is it connected, what are you connecting.
Completely scalable and completely configurable.
Completely scalable, configurable. And I want to give you some examples of how this works. Would that be a good use of time?
Fantastic.
So let's just say, for instance, that I'm a production that is working on a live sport. That sport could be on the field, on the ice, on the floor, and I don't know when there's going to be a stoppage in play. Well, what's interesting about a sport that is on air, live, and it's unpredictable when it's going to stop, is someone has to pay for that to be on air. That's the advertisers. How do I trigger advertising when I don't know when I'm going to have a break other than to stop play artificially? Nobody wants that. So we've actually worked with professional sports leagues around the globe to allow for something on the ice, in the field, where when a referee calls a stoppage, somebody pushes one of our buttons. What does that button do? It triggers a SCUDdy signal. What's a SCUDdy signal? That's the way in which an advertiser receives a digital trigger to start the commercial.
Okay.
And they're doing that from the playing field, which completely changes the field of play for the broadcaster, and it allows actually to maximize profits and maximize the number of advertising dollars, which is how we all get to feed our families. So SCUDdy, button control, triggers, scheduled actions, automation, DTMF control, all of these different esoteric acronyms. Suffice to say, when you've got broadcast chain, broadcast production live or recorded needs, and you need to figure out how to do something from over here that affects over there, whether over here is in another country, another room, or from outer space or an airplane, you can do all of that with what we make. We fill in the gaps in between to provide that glue that allows you to have whatever control you want. As I like to say it, we want you to push our buttons.
So the Tally TM1 and the IP Buddy available now?
Absolutely, available now. Nothing is etherware, nothing is vaporware, nothing's a science project. These are tried and true buttons, systems, and solutions that have been in development and in use by all major networks and customers for over 30 years around the globe.
Absolutely.
TSL is a trusted brand that makes solutions that at their very core are listening to the needs of the customer.
Cool. So people at NAB can find you in the middle of Central Hall. If they're not in Vegas, where can they find out more information?
If you're not in Vegas, over by the deli in Central Hall and C5420, you can find us online at tslproducts.com. We have offices around the globe, but in the US, we're based in California, and in the UK, right outside of London.
Yeah, I know for a fact on that website you've got some really good video resources explaining control, and I think there's a video on the IP Buddy as well.
There is, and you bring up a really good point. The way in which we're reaching people is very important, more important than ever. You don't have to be a veteran engineer to understand control. You just have to know what you need.
Yeah.
And so work with us, watch some of our videos. We do try and explain the basics of how to interact with a control device, but it's not as hard as you think. It's very accessible, and we're here to help do the hard work so that it's made simpler for you and for your operators.
Brilliant. Thanks, Greg. Well, if you need control and you need help, come and speak to this man here at TSL in Central Hall, or check out the website where there's so many resources and videos and help guides to guide you along the control route. Thanks, Greg. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Hope to see you soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you. See you soon, too.
And you can find out more about what we're doing at NAB at kitplus.com.
Great.